Hello everyone, this is Haxiclappa, and today we'll be flying out the F1. Now, if you're wondering why it took me so long to cover this, it's because I actually had to grind out the ace. Well, no, I did not. I grinded out upgrade points, I grinded my 400 or so, but then by then I realized that I might as well just chuck in like a few Robux and just buy the ace. Because I sort of grew attached to those upgrade points that I grinded so painstakingly. Anyways, let's start this off with some clips of like the average match. So, why am I even covering this crappy plane in the first place? Well, it really isn't that bad anymore because they added the 9P4. This thing's basically a 9J, but with a 9L seeker, just a gimped 9L. So, that's why I'm covering this plane. And I think at this point, I might as well tell you guys that I do not think this plane will age very well. Back then, when they were all aspect missiles, they were really fun for the first few days, but then soon everyone just started flaring the head ons. And yeah, so I think the same will happen to this. I don't think that they're going to necessarily nerf the 9P4. It's just that the other players will probably know how to how to counter this plane give it a few more days or so. And when I played today, this footage is a little old, maybe like last week. But when I played today, it feels like it's not nearly as effective as this thing was on release. And I think this plane also sort of opened my eyes to another thing, which is that back then I always thought that basically no flares equals dead on arrival, right? But now that the F1 has the all aspect missiles, it's like, you can sort of get away with a lot of things. You can kill a lot of people in the head on, and you can absolutely piss people off with these missiles, especially if they're in other F1s or the Lightning or the 104C. But like this plane, it feels like you really don't need flares very often. And while it would be nice if this thing had flares, it doesn't make the plane completely unusable. But like also, this also means that the lack of flares means you really can't extend. You can't extend. And that's really annoying because you're basically locked into the fight. You're going to have to jam that elevator, and someone can just come in with a missile, and by then you're probably screwed. This plane won't be able to handle furballs that well, but in the one-on-one, this plane has surprisingly good flight performance. Like, it has really good flight performance. This thing will turn around, and it will outturn the MiG-21 Biz. It will outturn the F5. It will easily run circles around the F4s. I think the only thing that really rivals this thing in turn performance is the Mirage, but that thing is a Mirage, alright? Now, this plane, some other characteristics, it has a really high stall speed, so it's generally a pretty slow plane. You won't be going Mach that easily. I think you usually go around 1,200 kilometers an hour on the deck, and that's about when you run into the furball, and then once you start turning, you'll be around 800, 600, and around these speeds, I'm pretty sure the F5 will still outturn you. And as you see here, here's the MiG-21 at low speed. He was going to pull around, but he got killed by my teammate just in time. And something else about this plane is that I find this gun to be absolutely horrid. I don't know what to say. This Vulcan really doesn't do damage. Like, there's going to be a clip coming up where, like, it is absolutely terrible. Maybe it's just my aim, haha, skill issue, but I feel like I can do better with any other gun in the game, as long as if it's not this one. Like, even the 104 Vulcans, I find those to be much more consistent than whatever the hell this thing has. I swear the devs had done something to this thing's damage. And oh my god, I actually just died to a 9B there. But they did buff those recently too. And so, right now, do I think this plane is good? Well, on release, this thing was the best pub stomper in the game, but I think now that people actually know how to play against this plane, I'd say I'd probably prefer the good old 104G anyway, and yeah, poor 104C just eats head-on missiles. That thing is even more miserable now to play with this F5 spam. I'm at this F1 spam. But yeah, you get basically 4 all-aspect missiles, and I'm just gonna pray that that guy doesn't know what he's doing, and he doesn't know what he's doing, and I kill this guy too. And yeah, this plane is pretty stupid sometimes. And here, that's another 9P to someone. And yeah, this plane really is the best out of the Flare West planes now. Like, it is undeniably the best. Against the Electric Lightning, this thing has missiles that are actually around the same range as the Lightning. So there's no point in playing the Lightning because this thing has much superior flight performance. I'm pretty sure this plane also has the best roll rate in the entire game, and it turns really well. So yeah, now what I'm going to show you here, I'm literally in their spawn, and then I can basically stay in their spawn and get away with most of it. And as you see here, these guns, man, they don't do any damage. I hate these guns so badly. But back to talking about the F1, right? This thing has great thrust away. It doesn't do too well at altitude, but also this thing, and yeah, that's another thing you have to watch out for, is you have to be extremely vigilant for people on your 6. And once you see people on your 6, you need to turn around or you're going to die. Another thing is you have to stay vigilant of other F1s because they're going to kill you. They will kill you. And you have to have some altitude to dodge the P4, because what you do is you roll towards the bottom right, and then you pull back in, and then you could usually defeat the P4 that way. But you need some altitude for that, so the snowy map is a little annoying to play in this. But otherwise, it still is fine. This plane, I think, is fine in its current state, but I think it will be sort of unplayable again when people actually know how to flare. People actually realize how to counter this plane. And I think this plane will probably be a pretty sad plane. Give a few more days, maybe 2 more weeks tops. And I think here I also managed to hit this F5E. I think he popped the flare, but if you flare too late, this thing's 2.5 degrees gimbal is really not gonna see the flare. And you just saw that, right? There were those effects on the F104, and somehow he didn't die. And yeah, that was a pretty easy 16-4. This plane, I think, was really, really fun. It was definitely worth the Robux I spent on it, but I don't think it will be worth playing now. So, to answer the question, is the plane usable? Of course, 100%. But would I recommend it now? Probably not. Now with that, thank you guys for watching the video. See ya in the next video. Bye.